got to have a dream. If you don't see it finished, you never get it finished. You know, I always see it finished screaming down the road with it.
But in reality, it's probably running down the road at 50 kilometers an hour.
Feels like you're doing about 85, you know. It's like you're really flying. But most of these things, they feel faster than they are, you know, because everything's bouncing around and roaring and everything.
Jon Page builds his cars to drive, but when he does take it to the events, it usually steals the show.
People are attracted to these, and I've been at car shows where there's beautiful hot rods and stuff, and people are all clustered around this. I feel kind of guilty, like little tin cans sitting there, and they're a beautiful car. Nobody's paying attention to it because it's different.
Jon has always been mechanical, spending his life working on cars, planes, and motorcycles. He felt building speedsters was a natural progression. He describes his builds as an old-style race car.
After doing 4 other ones, you do learn a few tricks.
Most of them are about 600 hours in about 8 months, which means you're working fairly steady on them, you know. Keeps me out of the house and away from housework.
And perhaps his wife wanted him out of the house, as she was the one to encourage him to start building. His first speedster he calls Merlin. The availability of parts dictated the design.
The blue one, it's got, I think, 35 different sources of parts. You know, starting right from the front and to the back, everything you can find. The horn and the lights are spotlights 1914. The grille is a 31 Pontiac. The headlights are 28 Chev. 73 Jag engine and a Suzuki muffler off a motorcycle. And the exhaust and the steering column I built out of stainless steel that I bought at a demolition place there out of a dairy. This is sort of fun that way because there's no regulations as far as how it has to be designed. Like, you know, I can make it any way I want. It has to be certified after it's finished.
Jon calls his designs roadkill speedsters and rolling street art. He basically starts with a blank canvas, paintbrush, and sees where the paint sticks.
Well, I don't start out with any real plans, maybe a sketch or two. Spend a few evenings sketching what I think sort of should look like, but it invariably is different. It just comes out differently, but the general idea is there. And as you go, you find that things don't always work the way you want them to. I was at a car show at one of these, and a little kid came up and said, how come your car is pointed at the back? And I said, well, I started at the front and I worked back, and I said, I ran out of metal, so I just pinched it back together. He says, oh, I see. he was pleased with that. So.
With the 600 hours to build the car, Jon probably spends just as much time thinking about what he could have done differently. He's getting lots of practice in, though. He is on his 5th build and already has parts for a 6th. Although you probably will only see one of these cars at a car show, speedsters are growing in popularity. Most are likely just tucked away in garages like Jon's. For Go on Shaw TV, I'm Roger Glassford.